Freen and Becky, the silent yes, that no one heard but everyone understood. The yes that never needed sound. Some answers are spoken. Some are written. Some are shouted into the world with no fear at all. And then there are answers that arrive quietly. So quietly that if you blink, you miss them. So gently that if you're listening for words, you hear nothing. But somehow, everyone understands. That was the kind of yes Freen gave Becky. No microphone. No announcement. No confirmation post. No explanation. Just a look. Was. A breath held between two people who already knew the truth. The internet would later argue about it endlessly. Fans would slow the clip down frame by frame. Comment sections would burn for years. But those who truly saw it didn't need proof. Because some truths don't live in sound. They live in energy. And energy never lies. Before anyone was watching. Before the hashtags. Before the edits. Before the shipping wars and the endless speculation. Before Freen Becky became a name that carried weight. There were just two women walking into an industry that demanded everything and promised nothing. Freen had learned early how to protect herself. Not by hardening, but by controlling what she showed. She smiled when expected, spoke when required, kept her heart neatly tucked behind professionalism and discipline. People respected her. Some admired her. Very few truly knew her. Becky was different. She didn't hide herself well, not because she was careless, but because she didn't know how to be anything other than sincere. Her emotions sat close to the surface, visible in her expressions, her voice, the way her eyes reacted before her mind could stop them. She felt deeply, loved openly, and trusted easily. When their paths crossed for the first time, neither of them knew this yet. They only knew one thing. The air felt different. The first recognition. Their first meeting wasn't dramatic. No slow motion. No music swelling in the background. No cinematic coincidence. It happened in a waiting room filled with voices, scripts, nervous energy, and half-finished coffee cups. Freen was already seated, flipping through her pages, mentally rehearsing. Becky entered quietly. She didn't announce herself. She didn't scan the room for attention. She simply walked in, and somehow Freen looked up without knowing why. Their eyes met, just briefly, but something passed between them. Not attraction, not romance, recognition. Like seeing a familiar shape in a crowd and realizing you've been looking for it without knowing. Becky smiled politely and sat a few seats away. Freen returned to her script, but the words blurred. She wasn't distracted. She was aware. Aware of presence. Aware of proximity. Aware of something she couldn't explain and didn't yet question. Later, Becky would describe the moment as, "It felt like standing near a quiet fire. Not burning. Just warm." Freen never described it. She didn't have the words yet. Chemistry without intention. The audition scene was simple on paper. Two characters meeting under tension. A conversation weighted with unsaid things. Nothing extraordinary. Until they began. From the first exchange the room changed. Not loudly. Not suddenly. But undeniably. Freen's voice softened without intention. Becky's responses came instinctively. Not memorized. Their timing aligned without rehearsal. Their pauses matched. Their reactions landed exactly where the other left space. The director leaned forward. The casting team stopped whispering. No one interrupted. Because what they were watching didn't feel like performance. It felt like two people listening to each other in a way that couldn't be taught. When the scene ended, the silence lasted longer than expected. Then the director said quietly, "Thank you. Not great job. Not let's try that again. Just thank you." The decision was already made. The connection begins to grow. Working together should have made things clearer. Instead, it made them more complicated. On set, Freen found herself more relaxed than usual. She spoke freely, laughed more easily, allowed herself moments of softness she usually guarded carefully. Around Becky, she didn't feel watched. She felt understood. Becky, on the other hand, found herself calmer than she had ever been in a professional environment. Her nerves quieted when Freen was near. Her doubts softened. Her confidence settled into something steady instead of fragile. They didn't talk about it. They didn't name it. They didn't need to. It showed in the way they gravitated toward each other naturally. During breaks, during long shoots, during quiet moments no camera recorded. It showed in the way they listened. And it showed in the way silence between them never felt uncomfortable. The moments that were never meant to be seen. The most important moments happened off camera. Like the night Becky stayed behind, exhausted, sitting on the edge of the set long after everyone else had left. Freen didn't ask questions. She just sat beside her. They didn't speak for a long time. Then Becky whispered, "It's quiet when you're here." Freen didn't respond immediately. Finally she said, "You don't have to be strong all the time." Becky leaned her head against Freen's shoulder. No romance. No tension. Just relief. Moments like that stacked quietly on top of each other. Each one small, each one insignificant on its own. Together they formed something undeniable. Fear enters the story. Connection is beautiful. But connection is also dangerous. Especially in an industry built on perception. Freen knew this. She had spent years mastering distance. She had learned what happens when the world thinks it knows your heart. Becky hadn't. And that worried Freen more than anything else. She began pulling back slightly. Not in cruelty, but in caution. Shorter touches. More controlled expressions. Careful words. Becky noticed. She didn't confront it. She simply adjusted. Matching Freen's distance without complaint. But something fragile entered the space between them. Fear. Fear of misinterpretation. Fear of consequence. Fear of wanting something they weren't allowed to name. And yet, even with fear present, the connection didn't disappear. It waited. The question that changed everything. It happened at a public event. Lights, cameras, fans everywhere. They were standing side by side when someone asked the question everyone had been thinking. "So what are you to each other?" The room laughed nervously. Becky turned instinctively to Freen. Not for permission. For truth. Her eyes asked something words never could. "Is it okay? Can I exist honestly here? Will you stand with me?" Time slowed. Freen could have laughed it off. She could have redirected. She could have protected them both with silence. Instead, she met Becky's gaze. And she nodded. Not dramatically. Not clearly. Just enough. The smallest movement. The quietest, yes. No one heard it. But everyone understood.